Good morning, everyone. It's 6 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m. It's Monday, July 15, 2019, 57 degrees outside. Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor in the house. Shaman Tobin on the line from Vancouver, British Columbia. Good morning. Good week. How you doing?
Well, I've recovered from my cold. I'm home. I'm happy. The weather's beautiful, 80 degrees, blue sky. It's July.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah.
Well, our weather, if we can get through the next 2 days, will be pretty good.
That'd be good.
Yeah, today we've got a chance of rain and thunderstorms before 1 o'clock, then a chance of showers and thunderstorms between 1 and 4. Then showers likely and possible a thunderstorm after 4 p.m. It'll be sunny in between, then becoming partly sunny during the afternoon with a high of 81 today is what we're looking for. And chance of precip is about 60%. Also, they are looking for high winds, maybe some hail and other fun things happening. Showers likely tonight and a possible thunderstorm before 10 p.m. Then a chance of showers and thunderstorms mainly between 10 and 3 a.m. And chance of precip again about 60% there. But after that, Tuesday, the high will be 72, low 50. Thunderstorms again pretty much throughout the day, but the majority of them will happen on your commute home, and then they'll taper off overnight. And then the next 4 or 5 days, it's going to be excellently nice. 77 high on Wednesday, 81 on Thursday, 77 on Friday, 77 on Saturday, 81 on Sunday, and 82 on Monday, and it's going to be mostly sunny through most of those days. Almost no chance of precip at all in the coming weeks and as we go along. You're making an awful lot of noise. What are you doing over there?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Everything's banging and you're clicking and calm down. All right, temperatures around the area, 56 in Livingston, I should say. It is 56 in Manhattan, 58 in Three Forks. It is 56 in Gallatin Gateway, 55 in Ennis, 51 in Big Sky, and at the airport in Belgrade is 55 degrees. And we're at 57 in our downtown studios here at 10 minutes after the hour. And that will wrap it up for your amazing weather. Our poll question, what?
Nothing. It is amazing weather. That's all.
Our poll question of the day, what's the best breakfast food? And we've already got some responses over there. We've got eggs and bacon, French toast, waffles or pancakes, bagels, cereal, fruit combo. So take your pick over there, or you can enter your own answer. Maybe you like a breakfast smoothie or something like that, or granola bars, or kiwi.
Hey, almond toast.
Almond toast. There you go. All right.
No, excuse me, avocado toast.
Oh, geez, that's disgusting in the morning.
Hey, now that's a woman's favorite.
Avocado toast in the morning. That's that's barf country.
No, it's avocado instead of peanut butter. It's just spread it on toast.
No,
it's good. It's actually
good. It's good after 12 o'clock, but it's not good in the morning.
It's a breakfast that women like.
Well, I don't think our women like it.
Our women. You mean
our women? I don't know if our women like peanut butter either, but they pick peanut butter over spreading an avocado on toast.
How about honey on toast?
Honey on toast is fine. Cinnamon toast is fine. All that stuff is fine, but
that stuff.
Yeah, but not avocado. I mean, it's okay in a salad,
I'm hoping one gal out there will call and defend me.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
You think?
No, I don't think.
You don't think so? Not
no,
one. Okay.
No, I'm not putting avocado toast on the breakfast. What's the best breakfast food? There's nobody in the world eats avocado that early in the morning, and especially with bread.
Hey, I'm just telling you, it is a millennial delight. Avocado.
Now, I like avocado. I do.
It's
I
great.
like
Yeah.
it on sandwiches. I like it on salads. I like avocado. It's good stuff. But
Uh-oh.
no, not that early in the morning and not
So,
on.
this isn't a personal thing like not liking broccoli.
No, no, it's not personal at all. I like avocado. I just
All right.
the taste of that at 6 in the morning or 7 in the morning. No, that's unacceptable. That would
There you go.
that would that would just be a speedy uh, run down the hall to the throne to get rid of it. That's what would happen.
That's great.
Well, anyway, on our poll today, eggs and bacon are in the lead. French toast is a close second. So, but it's early yet. We only got a few votes in there. So get over to our KMMSAM.com poll and vote, or at our smart app, AM 1450 KMMS app. Get over there and vote. And we'll see at the end of the show where we are.
All right.
Yeah, so we
Sounds
go
good
along.
to me.
So, yeah.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Well, in this day in history, Shane, we got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah,
I don't know how much of it is worth talking about, but well,
Hey now.
Rembrandt was born in Leiden, Netherlands, and I didn't realize that Rembrandt is his first name. I thought it was his last name. So
No, it's Rembrandt Harmensenzoon van Riljen.
it's easy for you to say.
No, that's not easy, guys. No, Dutch, those
Yeah.
Dutch guys.
We'll have to have Jacobus come in here and do that pronunciation for us.
15th of July, 1606 to October, 4th of October, 1669. So he lived 600 years
Yeah, right.
during a very tumultuous time. But as far as art goes, and particularly in Dutchland, it was the Dutch golden age of art.
Yeah.
And with Rubens and himself, great at painting self-portraits. Of course, he was an artist, but his most famous, of course, the Night Watch. It's just one of those pictures that he painted in 1642. Captain Franz Banning Kohold of the Night Watch for the militia. And so he's one of these great artists that he was really prolific. I mean, he painted hundreds of art. Wasn't, died poor like most artists at the time, but now fills all the great museums of the world and his paintings sell for in the tens of millions to hundreds of millions. So
Wow.
Well,
and also we're still talking about him 500 years later. So
yeah, that's right.
pretty amazing guy. Well, in 1870, Georgia became the last of the Confederate states to be readmitted to the Union 5 years after the end of the Civil War.
Yeah, and it's part of the great settlement. Amazing state. The population today is 10.5 million. Mean income is $56,000 per person. They have 9 House members. They have 14 members. 9 are Republican, 5 Democrat, and of course 2 U.S. senators, both Republican. It's an established example of the Nixon switch in the South when to survive the parties of the South moved towards the Republican Party because they collapsed within regional areas as far as the Democratic Party. And it's a great state. It was last to join the Union, mostly because the governor, and of course it was sort of the home of the KKK and the beginnings of Jim Crow, and so it was a nasty situation when the Democrats took over after the Civil War.
Yeah, I spent some time at Fort Benning after Vietnam.
Oh yeah, you would. Of course you would have. That's
Went there.
That's one of the Army's largest base, right? Training facility.
Yeah, it's where the Rangers train, and the main street from end to end, nothing but loan organizations,
Loan.
loan
Yeah,
companies for the military. You can go in there and get a loan.
that's right. Known for the Blue Ridge Mountains
Yep.
and the Appalachian Mountain System
Mm-hmm.
and the Piedmont Plateau. Beautiful place to drive, see
Mm-hmm.
the sunrise. Unbelievable place.
And what's his name? Ray Charles, Georgia on My Mind.
That's
State
right.
song.
Humid subtropical climate, so it was
Mm-hmm.
great for growing
Mm-hmm.
cash crops like cotton and corn. And of course, is on the Mississippi River. So the entire eastern boundary of the state is the Mississippi River.
1964, Senator Barry Goldwater of Arizona was nominated for president at the Republican National Convention in San Francisco. And we all remember that famous atom bomb commercial that killed his
The little girl
candidacy.
counting the daisy petals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ended his presidency.
Barry Goldwater was the first probably conservative to stand up, and his most famous quote that he made during his speech was, I believe his acceptance speech at the convention was, "Extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice, and moderation in the pursuit of justice is no virtue." And that's pretty relevant today.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we got to take care of our ranchers, farmers, truck drivers, cab drivers, chemists, anybody that brings anything to you, I guess.
Right, yeah.
So here is your Montana news in agriculture. 23 minutes after the hour, and we're back.
We are indeed
Yeah.
ready to go. Rocketed with coffee and good meds for the morning and
Good
let's
meds.
go. Yeah, good meds.
Yeah, we got to have good meds on Monday. Well,
Yeah.
1971, President Richard Nixon announced he would visit the People's Republic of China, and that was kind of the opening of a trade with China back in the day of 1971, and they were kind of a closed society up till that point, and
That's right.
they began to open trade talks and doing trade with the U.S. and other countries.
Yeah, and the famous thing about it, of course, was Mao's invitation to the American tabletop players to come and play, table tennis in against the Chinese
Mm-hmm.
Olympic team. The reason for this, I think, had more to do, though, was with their clash with Russia at the time. They were having constant cross-border clashes, the second largest open border in the world between Russia and China. And they were actually concerned that, it developing into a greater war. So Nixon had a gentleman, as we all know, that worked for him as a national security counselor, Kistner. He never made him a secretary of his cabinet because Kissinger had such a big ego, big surprise. And, he was, Kissinger was a bit overtaken by Nixon's willingness to push him sort of to the back in February of 1972 when they did end up in China. Because as the famous saying, even used in movies said today, only Nixon could go to China.
Yeah.
And, it was true. Joe and Lai became good friends, actually, with Nixon more than Mao. Mao was a recluse by this time. Pretty much it had fallen into, I don't know how to describe it, more of a I'm going to read and write phase of his life.
Yeah.
And, it's the Hall of the People had been built around Mao and everything had become about him. And when you think about it, it's truly the first example of identity politics.
Okay. 1979, President Jimmy Carter delivered a speech in which he lamented what he called a crisis of conscience or crisis of confidence in America. Though he didn't use the word, it became known as the malaise speech.
Which was the end of his political career.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, because this was a guy that basically said, America can't do this and America can't do that. And, we've overstepped ourselves here and there. And considered one of the smartest people as far as presidents go, as far as education, because,
He was an atomic naval scientist guy.
Engineer. You know, he understood nuclear power and had a great concept. But he never picked up, you know, the whole process of how the executive branch runs. You know, we've talked about this a number of times. Obama was interviewed 6 times by 60 Minutes. And if you watch the 6 different interviews over the 8 years he was president, he outwardly comes out and tells you, like the first one's in year 2, 3, for second year and third, fourth year, you know, that he didn't know what he was doing. He had no idea. He had to learn everything. And it's a very difficult job to do because there's several jobs you have to do. Anyway, long story short, he never really caught on to it. And he then got caught up in the whole issue with Iran and the hostage taking. And that ended up with Walter Cronkite, you know, nightly announcing how many days.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was the end of that, right?
Well, it was Koppel that started Nightline, and that's where Nightline came from. So, yeah. And
you know, even though he made great success with his Camp David Accords, I mean, that was a huge success between Minister Menachem Begin and Sadat, Anwar Sadat of Egypt on the 17th of September, 78, and we've also talked about. And the importance of that was, you know, Egypt was the only country with a population large enough to raise an army to defeat Israel. The other thing that upset a lot of people about Carter was the Panama Canal treaties and giving it up. You know, a lot of people did not like the fact that he was so willing to do that. Like, not a good thing.
Yeah. From our text line, 478-8298, Carter was Obama light, the 2 worst presidents ever. And we got a signed text on that one. Just ask Donald J. Trump. For the entire history of the U.S., some degree of anti-blackness has existed. Now there is an intensifying anti-Muslim and anti-immigrant xenophobia. Well, of course, that would be entirely wrong, but that's okay. All views are welcome here.
and remember, he came from Georgia, which we talked about earlier.
Yeah, so there you are.
He's a peanut farmer. You know, I mean, everybody knows that. But...
All right, we've got to get out of here. We've got to pay some bills and do some other stuff. So, Montana State News, Fox News, Brick Foster with the weather, podcast, Levin, it's all straight ahead. So don't go anywhere because, hey, when we come back, we've got more on this day in history. We've got to talk about MSNBC when we come back.
Man, for sure.
There you go. We'll be right back with more. Stay tuned. 25 minutes for the top of the hour. It is Monday, July 15, 2019, 56 degrees outside. Shane Matobin on the line. And Tom Eagle up your morning mayor in the house. And I want to go back to the text we just got from someone. For the entire history of the U.S., some degree of anti-blackness has existed, and I would say that's complete BS because we've had a black president, we've got blacks on our Supreme Court, as well as Hispanics and other Jews and everybody else, and we've got blacks both in the House and the Senate of the United States. So please don't even try going there with that one.
And as we pointed out now, they are even overrepresented in media ahead of the Mexican American minority, which is the largest minority. So as the second minority in the United States, you know, they've got a pretty good foothold in all of the operations of industry. And all you have to do is look at the gentleman from BET that owns, you know, black
entertainment television,
and Oprah, and all the sports players that have become very wealthy in a supposed racist nation. I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, as far as being anti-Muslim and anti-immigrant, if you were anti-Muslim, you would have added Indonesia and Egypt to the list of countries that you didn't want coming here.
That's correct.
I think. The biggest Muslim populations in the world weren't on the list of people that we didn't want coming to the U.S. without being properly vetted. And
you should speak to in Indonesia because people, you know, I know we've talked about it again, but the 280 million people in Indonesia, so it's a big country.
and most are Muslim. And
That's right.
they were welcome
Sunni.
here whenever they want to come.
Yep.
And as far as anti-immigrant, no one's anti-immigrant. We're anti-illegal alien. That's the difference.
Correct.
Immigrants built this country. They came through Ellis Island with a sponsor and someone who is going to take responsibility for them.
Annually, 1.2 million people come to your country legally, having gone through the process. That can take up to 10 years and cost $20,000. And that is more than all of the 10 top other nations in the world combined. So you take in the largest amount of immigrants of any countries in the world.
Well, I would agree that if you think we're an anti-black, anti-Muslim, anti-immigrant country, then you're just misinformed. That's all. That's the best I can. That's the politest retort I can make to you.
That's the politest way of calling people ignorant.
Well, at least ignorant on these three topics.
Yes, that's right. Just those three topics.
In fact, if Black Lives mattered, they'd be posted outside every abortion clinic in America.
Exactly, and we're not saying that this point of view isn't wrong. I mean, if you don't like people in the United States bringing in as many, new immigrants as that, you get involved in the political process and get people elected, in local, city, state, and federal offices that are opposed to it.
Yeah,
There is something you can do about it.
It's just that easy.
It is just that easy.
All right. Well, back to our day in history. Let's see. MSNBC 24. What?
Gotta talk about this. This is great.
1996, MSNBC 24-hour all-news network made its debut on cable TV and the internet. There you are. So, see?
That's right.
I didn't say there you go. I said there you are.
Oh, there you are.
Go for it.
No, I just so excited to talk about this because we did talk about this a year ago, but it was originally part of NBC Universal, which is created in 1939 for radio, and then of course it was created in Radio Network was 1926, and the 1939 was for TV. Now it fell under the network guidelines of the federal government. So did CBS and NBC or ABC. So they wanted to compete with the existing non-cable networks, CNN and Fox. So they decided to get together with Bill Gates and put in CNBC because he became a major investor in it, and that's how they formed it. And they formed it in 1996. Now the interesting thing is as of February 2015, approximately 94,531 households in the United States, 82.2% of those with television, were receiving MSNBC or had access to it because of cable. Yet their audience on a nightly basis is between 600 and 700,000 people, which is pretty amazing.
That would be it. All right, we got to take a break. Shane, we got a caller waiting. If you can entertain them, we'll be right back with more right after this. 15 minutes for the top of the hour. It is Monday, July 15, 2019, 57 degrees outside. Looking for a high in the 80s today. Shane Matobin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. And from our text line, Secretary of Commerce Wilbur Ross to be out. Trump announcement soon. I guess we'll find out if that actually comes to light or not. I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't either.
To see Wilbur go.
I wouldn't either. I think that, his botching of this whole issue with the census and the question, because it fell under his auspices. Yeah. And he either was lagging way behind the process or wasn't keeping up with it, because the whole legal challenge should have started like a year ago. You know what I mean? It shouldn't have started when it did. And
well, I think I think when they put it on there, Shane, who would possibly object? I mean, why would you not put it on there a year ago? Why would anybody object to asking if you're a U.S. citizen?
The minute they brought it up, which was about 9 months ago,
Mhm.
really.
Yeah.
Everybody started objecting. And then when Trump tweeted, that he was going to do something about it, the Democrats went to a federal court and got an injunction.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
look, what this reminds me of the Dreamer deal. Remember the Dreamer deal
Uh-huh.
where he'd given them 1.8 million. They wanted 800,000. He gave them 1.8 million, and he agreed to all these conditions for the Dreamer deal. And he called them all to the White House, and they sat down to talk about it, and basically had a consensus. Then they left, and they had filed an injunction with a federal judge to stop his executive order. And the judge made a decision and put an injunction on it, and the Democrats walked away.
Yeah.
So ever since then, they've said that Trump walked away, that he didn't like the deal.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
the same situation.
Yeah. Well, in this case, as I said many times, I intend to write in on the form manually that I am a U.S. citizen born in the United States of America, because I do not want ICE showing up at my door and sending me back to California.
Well, they do ask you how many courses have you taken? Do you have a high school education? How well are you literate? Can you read? When you think of the questions they ask,
I know.
the simple question, "Are you a citizen of the United States?" is a no-brainer, and they say no.
Yeah, the
Serious
census is
like-
nothing but a shopping list of entitlements. I mean,
That's exactly
all
what
it
it
is. It's all it
That's
is.
all it is.
Let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Jane. What's up?
Hey, guys, this is Aaron.
Aaron.
Two things. One, the Constitution doesn't say a census. It doesn't require a census. It requires an enumeration. And they're two different
Of
things.
the population, yeah.
Right, of the people.
Mhm.
And
For the purpose of the House of Representatives.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
enumeration is a number as far as I can tell.
Yeah, that's correct.
it is. It's the numbering of the people. That's the
Right.
definition. That's, the
That's all it
constitutional
is.
definition
Yeah.
of enumeration. So all the other questions on there are superfluous. Is that the word I want?
Yeah,
Superfluous.
that'll work.
That's a
Okay,
big
so
word.
yeah,
Wow.
so I like using big words. It's
Yeah.
it makes
Yeah.
me sound smart. It's
That's
called
true.
arachnophobia.
That's true, yeah.
So, the other thing I want to say is, okay, so, you guys are talking about America being a racist country, this, that, and the other thing. Globally, white people are the minority. We are the global minority.
We are.
We are. That's
And-
right. But we have been for a very long time, like for 2000.
We have been for a very long time, right?
Mhm.
And we all came according to the socialist, globalist left. We all came from Africa, right?
Supposedly.
That's their claim. That's their claim to where everybody came from, and from one person. We, two
Mhm.
people,
Yeah.
and we all came from that. Well, so the white people moved back to Africa, and they made themselves a little country. There's nobody there. There's no black people. It was, the southernmost country or area on the parts of the continent and the globe, and they made themselves a community, and they said, okay, this is where white people are going to be in this whole continent. White people get this spot. And it became the most successful spot on the continent. It was called South Africa. And the socialist, globalist, leftists said, well, you guys can't have that. You guys are racist. You don't want black people in there. And they destroyed the South African government and gave it over to the black people, right? And that's historical. That's what happened. Right, so they've killed 68,000 white people and taken their land since that happened. 68,000 South African whites have been killed in the country, in the continent from which all people originated. White people can't have a country there. So before they inhabited South Africa, the white people went over the Caucasus Mountain Range. They inhabited Europe. And the socialist globalists said, well, you can't have this. And they gave that area, that region, to the Middle Easterners. And so now the Middle East gets to be European and Middle Eastern. All right? So there's no white people allowed to have a homeland in Europe. There's no white people allowed to have homelands on Africa, Asia. There's no white people that are allowed to inhabit anywhere near there. They would kill them. So you have America left, right? That's basically the only.
South
we have
South
Antarctica.
America.
Right, we have South America, North America. Well,
Well, Australia too would be in
New
there.
Zealand.
Yeah, we got Australia.
And England would be in there.
And England.
England
And Germany.
and
Germany.
And Western Europe.
Mhm.
Europe is all
And
Arabia
Russia.
now. Europe,
And Russia.
Well, okay, so you got Russia. The West is currently attacking them right now because Russia will not allow this immigration, this multiculturalism that's going on.
No, I know what you're talking about, white people. So go ahead.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's no European country that's allowed to be white. There's no African country that's allowed to be white. There's no Asian country that's allowed to be white. There's no South American country that's allowed to be white. So you have what's left. All you have is America. And we're not allowed to be white either. So you can't,
I'm not disagreeing with your I'm not disagreeing with your argument, but all the countries that you've referenced so far to justify your argument all started out white and have taken in immigrants to become less white.
Right.
Okay. Just so
Right.
you're
Well,
clear.
these areas started out white, so white people had a homeland, even though they were the minority globally. They still had these little areas that nobody else lived or that they've conquered, and that's where they lived. But they're not allowed to have those places anymore. So there's nowhere that's allowed to be white on this whole globe. The America is going to be given over to the South Americans, and I think there's a reason for this. Because the Jews. So the Jews are not allowed to have a homeland either, according to the globalist socialists. They want to get rid of the Jews and the white people, and there's a reason for that, and that's because we are the farmers. We feed the people. We feed the whole world, the Jews and the Americans, white people.
So what you're saying is these globalists at the end of the day want everyone to starve to death.
I think they want to deplete the population to the point, and they're going to do it through food. They're going to starve everybody out because there won't be any farmers left over. That's why they're buying all this farmland and ranch land throughout the country and turning it into grassland. They're taking all this farmland and getting rid of it. You know, this whole prairie reserve stuff going on over here in Montana. And I'm serious, man. And it may sound like a conspiracy, and I don't give a damn. But, white people need to stand up and say, hey, look, man, I'm not a racist. I don't care if black people live where they live. But, you can't breed me out. You can't. We deserve a place to live. And, because it's going to get to the point, it's like, okay, so this is the last white person. We're going to be in a zoo, and they're going to be like, oh, hey, look at the white guy. And that's what's going to happen because dumbass white people demanded that white people be exterminated and bred off the face of the earth. There's going to be Asians, there's going to be blacks, and there's going to be Mexicans. It's ridiculous. White people need to stand up. It's high time that you fight for a homeland, a country, something. Fight for something. Get off your damn couch, off your computers. Do something, Jesus Christ. It's amazing what white people are, the ability they have to destroy themselves. I don't get it. But
your whole argument falls on one thing, and that's demographics. And the only reason that white civilization is growing smaller is demographics of birth rate. It's there isn't a grand scheme for people to wipe out the white people of the world.
You don't know. Okay. So that Shane, and I love you to death. I think you're a great guy.
Yeah. Well, I think
you're naive. Being naive to the big picture doesn't make you right.
I'm not. If you
look at the big picture.
Well, he's trying to tell you. He's trying to tell you, Aaron. If you'll let him tell you, go, Shane.
I'm just saying to you that in the reach of history, the white man has never been the largest subspecies of humans on the planet in relation to skin color or orientation. And the only break from that was the Roman times, where the birth rate was massive and they built an empire. But after after the Romans, it wasn't until the 12th century in the Crusades where the birth rate increased again to fight the Muslims. And then in the 12th century, it fell away again until the 18th century, when the agrarian revolution, because of the steam engine, allowed for greater birth rate. And then that changed because of oil at the end of the 19th century, which allowed lighting darkness at night so people could work 24 hours a day. And the most productive turned out to be white people. So now educated, the white person became the most technically dominant species on the planet. But again, it gets back to the birth rate, 1.8. You need 2.1 to sustain your civilization. And unfortunately, on a global basis, the white people are not doing that. The African or black person, black family in the world's birth rate is 4.2, and the Muslim birth rate is 8.1.
And how convenient.
The Chinese birth rate's even worse. It's 1.3 because of Mao's single, child policy for 50 years, where now there's just a bunch of males and no females to propagate.
So while white people are breeding less, let's bring all these other people that are breeding more. And then eventually white people, I'm serious, man, they're going to be the minority. And all these farmers out here, all these people that are into agriculture, stuff like that are big morals,
why
they're going to be killed.
No, wait. Okay, so let's take the hypothetical question is, why is that a bad thing?
Why is that a bad thing?
If there's fewer white people on the planet, is that a bad thing?
Because there's always because you're marked for extinction.
No, but if we're the smartest, wealthiest, most productive, and we live in the best country clubs in the world, like Canada,
and we're giving it, but we're giving it away. That's the problem, is that we're giving it away.
Anyone's giving Canada or the United States or Australia or New Zealand and so forth away. I think they're just making them better. So I'm not quite.
They're making it better.
What's the downside?
Okay. So look at South Africa. This is the downside. South Africa was majority white. It was given over to black people. Now it's majority black, and they're killing 68,000 white.
It was never a majority white.
What's that? South Africa was majority white.
No, it wasn't. It was never a majority. It was always a minority white.
No, when South Africa was created, there was no inhabitants there.
What?
South Africa didn't have any inhabitants when white people moved there.
You're kidding me, right? Have you ever heard about the Zulu tribe? You should go read their history. Like it's one
guys,
of the largest.
I gotta go. I gotta go.
All right, bye.
All right, but we'll be right back. So close. only had a minute left there.
I just want people to know that the Zulu tribe is one of the largest tribes in Africa. There's over 12 million people, and they also have tribal members in Zimbabwe, Zambia, Tanzania, and Mozambique. So the Zulu tribe was historically one of the largest tribes of the southern tip of Africa. And it was the Germans that came in and developed it for agriculture in the central part of it. Oh, sorry.
All right.
And the British did the mining.
6 minutes after the hour, it is Monday, July 15th, 2019, 61 degrees outside. We're looking for a high in the mid-80s. Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor in the house. Shane Matauban, half man, half amazing in Vancouver. And this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. From our text line, why let white nationalism have a place on your airwaves? Well, we do that because all views are welcome here, and it's not our job to censor the callers. It's our job to let people express themselves, and the audience can make up their mind whether they agree or disagree with the caller.
And we always give good context like this. South Africa is the 33rd largest economy in the world. It's the 7th highest. In terms of purchasing power, it is the 7th highest per capita income in Africa. It's got a big economy. It's 80% black, by the way, caller, 8.4% white. And yes, the African National Congress as a party is running it into the ground. It's a black party, and it's in several countries in Africa and doing terrible. It's a socialist concept, and unfortunately, it's hurting its people. $813 billion economy. 13,000 per capita income. So, you got to look at the numbers. You got to read about this stuff before you start making comments like he did.
Okay. I was just looking at, I know my favorite African American actress is Charlize Theron.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I was in love with her for like 10 years, baby. I can't, wow.
Yeah. And also there's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, there's several NBA players, certainly from South Africa. But I was trying to remember the name of my favorite that played for the Lakers and has retired since then, Steve Nash. Yes, my favorite African American
That's right.
basketball
And,
player.
and unlike a lot of African Americans,
Hmm.
Oprah Winfrey picked South Africa to build her first school. Now they had a lot of problems with it, they did,
Hmm.
but she's educating a significant number of women in South Africa for the next generation. So I mean, there are everything has its day, right, Thomas?
Hmm.
Like you and me, we have it a little bit every day.
Well, that's true. Well, and you can't dispute that the birth rate situation is what it is.
That's right.
Now, we had the baby boomers, of course, and the baby boomers had the next generation. They kept the birth rate up coming back from the war. And,
Huge.
and
That's
then,
right.
but the millennials right now are waiting to get married. They're waiting till they're older. They don't necessarily want to bring children into this world with what they see as a hate-filled world of wars and negativism and no shot at the brass ring and all of that. I mean, they've just been brainwashed by the left that the government is the only thing that's going to take care of you. And they don't want to bring kids into the world that are going to be government serfs for the rest of their lives.
Well, I have a number of nieces and nephews and two daughters with children.
Yep.
And I have one daughter with two children. They'd like to have three, but it's financial restraints.
To some extent, it is. Yeah, children are not cheap. That's for sure.
Not the first world, baby. In the first world,
Well, you got to feed them, you got to clothe them, you got to educate them, you got to do all these things with them, and but I don't know. It's sad that people feel that way. That we were talking about the abortion rate in the African American community is horrendous. They've you have a better chance of being aborted in New York than you have in being born if you're black. Mm-hmm. And that's what I say. If Black Lives Matter, get out in front of the abortion clinics and stop the black women from coming in there and convince them that hey, there's other options.
There are, yes, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, and look at Mayor de Blasio. I mean, he adopted a young black man for a son.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's got a black wife too.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And Kaepernick was adopted by a white couple and had the best possible life you could have.
I know,
mm-hmm. in the first world. So that turned out well.
Yeah. So there you are. I don't know. Well, let's do a little local news because we've got state hospitals here are charging 3 times more than Medicare. We've nationwide hospitals set up prices for private insurance plans that are on average 241% higher than what Medicare pays, according to a sweeping Rand Corporation study that collected claims data that includes 25 states, 1,600 hospitals, and in Bozeman, 270% is our average above Medicare. So when you come in, and that's the situation, that's another indication of why Medicare for all would not be a good thing for the United States, because Medicare has cut the cost of things. That's why you don't see any doctors in here in private practice.
Well, that's right. They can't afford it.
No, they're in the hospital. They're at the hospital because it's unaffordable for them to take Medicare. And now doctors aren't required to take Medicare. Hospitals are not.
That's right.
I don't know that they're required to take it, but they do. And same with Medicaid. I mean, there's several places that don't take Medicaid. Hospitals generally will, but others, other ideas don't. Now, if you look at, there's no dentist at the hospital. There's no eye exam. There's no eye people at the hospital because they compete. They're competitive. And if Medicare was back in private insurance and more competitive, then those doctors could move out of the hospital and they could compete with each other for your medical dollar.
Exactly.
So.
And again, when you get back to this whole context of single payer, It is not a great deal because at the end of the day, no matter what guidelines you set up, and we've been dealing with this in Canada for 40 years, no matter what guidelines you set up to reduce the cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
You doctors are going to still figure out how to work the system to make a living.
Well, sure.
I mean,
They have to. I mean, you can't.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
Why would a guy or girl put in almost 10 years to become a doctor? By the time you go through 7 years of medical school and 3 or 4 years of residency.
Well, and the thing about it that upsets me the most is that, of the biggest part of both our economies is the medical industry, and everybody involved in it's regulated. But, when you look at the legal system and how big it is in both our countries, no one in that game is regulated. The salaries of judges and lawyers and everybody not accountants. Huge part of our economies. Nobody in that game is regulated. Accountants aren't regulated for what they can charge, and so it's one of these things where you're trying to cross over a government operated or regulated industry against unregulated industries, and it creates difficulties and conflicts. So people have to make choices, and it's not fair.
Yeah. All right, we've got to take a quick break here. And we'll be right back. We got a caller waiting on the phone, Shane. If you could talk to them, and we'll be right back. 17 minutes after the hour. It's Monday, July 15th, 2019. Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. Shane Matobin on the line from Vancouver, and we've got a caller waiting on the line. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Well, it's a beautiful morning this morning, Tom.
Yeah, how you doing, Clint?
Well, I'm doing fairly well this morning.
Good.
And but not real good.
Okay.
You took your meds, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't take any medicines. I don't take nothing. But anyway, I got something to say about the Four Corners Sewer and Water District.
Mm-hmm.
In Sunday's paper, July the 14th here, this past Sunday, yesterday, in Legals, it tells all about what's going to happen out here by my place in the Four Corners. And if anybody wants to protest what I'm about to say, I'll give you the address and where to do it here later. What is happening here is the Four Corners Sewer and Water District is going to build a new sewer plant right next to me, okay? Mm-hmm. And in doing so, it's about $13 million, $967. Okay, so that's about right at $14 million. Now, there's 2,000 and some odd people that are hooked to that, and it's 2,097 lots that are going to be affected. That are people's got their houses on them, and some have and some haven't. What has happened here is they're going to have a sewer bond on that money, and then that bond is going to run for 30 years. And you're going to be paying these folks that have these lots. They're going to be paying $473.01 more a year for their sewer system to pay for this sewer plant and the infrastructure it takes. Now, the thing that's bad about this, I don't like. Guess who's financing it? You have any idea, Tom?
Not a clue.
The Department of Natural Resources.
Okay.
Okay. And guess what? Where do they get their money?
From us.
Okay. Now they're giving it back to the sewer plant, to the Four Corners Sewer and Water District, and
in the form of a bond, they're giving it back to them.
Yeah. Well, and it's at 2.5%.
Mm-hmm.
They're charging interest on that money that we gave them for interest free. Well, that's all right. But anyway, what I wanted to say is the folks, they're having a hell of a time now making a living. And now they got this here, and they're paying around $80 a month or more. These folks are, that's in Galactic Park, and North Star, Black Bull Run, Fleckamus, okay, and Galton Heights, they're all paying, and up here at Elk Grove, they're all paying around $80 or more a month in sewer fees.
Clint, I just have a question for you. So all these homes without this system are on septic fields, right?
No, they're all on the sewer system now.
Okay.
They're pumping the water 6 miles, Brittner 6 miles, uphill up to Jackrabbit to the sewer plant, which is sitting on a big spring up here by Elk Grove. And this sewer plant is an oxidation plant. Now here's one thing. They're taking the water out of the ground to furnish all these homes, all right? And they're fairly deep wells, okay? Now, the bad part about this is, in the Trout Unlimited case, which went to the Supreme Court of the state of Montana, said that the groundwater and the surface water is one and the same. So they're going to take and treat this water, supposedly. They can only take out a certain amount of the stuff that's in it. They can't take it all out. It's impossible. And I got this right from one of the DEQ's head men. He's dead now. But he told me all about it, what happens. But anyway, what's happened is this water is being injected through various different drain fields and stuff like you would on a septic back into the ground, as well as having ponds, open ponds that are fenced. And in these open ponds that are fenced, the ducks and geese and everything land in them, okay? Then they go somewhere else and they land somewhere else. And I wonder what's happening there with whatever they're picking up. Now, the law says, the state of Montana's law says, that they have to keep it down to 10 parts per million of nitrates and phosphates. That's the law. But the thing that's so bad about this is the water pollution that's going to happen eventually. Dr. Gilbert told me, he says, eventually you will destroy your own water. You're going to destroy yourself. But that's the bad thing about it. And the bad thing is, I don't know how these people that are making payments on these homes and stuff out here, and I know a few of them, that are going to be able to afford to keep these homes if they keep going the way it is. Now, here's the real bad part about all of it. As Shane knows, and you know, Tom, we're very close to Bozeman. And out of Gooch Hill is about the borderline, I think, of the city.
Close to it, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Now, what happens when some of these dummies around here will ask to be annexed into Bozeman?
Oh, yeah. Well, we've already talked about that with Jeff Krause, that they're going to pay $3,000 or $4,000 for hookups and impact fees and all kinds of costs. Now, it looks like in your case, you got two bonds here. You got a special assessment bond for $217, and then you got a 2019 special assessment bond for $256.81.
That's right.
That would be a total of the $473.81 that you talked about. So
that's right. Well, the thing about it is,
and the whole thing is $11 million, I guess, is what they're looking for. $11,300,000 to pay for a portion of the cost of the project.
Yeah, right. Well, the thing about it is, if Bozeman, if we should be annexed into Bozeman, which some of these people don't know any different, you'll have a city tax as well as a county tax.
Yep.
Besides all of these other fees.
You'll have a lot of fees. Yeah, there'll be a lot of fees for you.
So you take over a 30-year period at $473. How much money is that?
Yeah.
That's a horrendous amount of mortgage on your place, but besides the mortgage you already have.
Sure.
So I'm saying that, and now, if you want to protest this, you got till August 14th, okay, to protest it, which you can do. It says only written protest filed by 5 p.m. on August 14th, 2019, will be considered at the hearing. And the hearing will be probably at the Important School.
Yeah.
But I want to put this out there to all the folks that maybe are going to work and own homes here in these here different subdivisions I just told you about. So anyway, that's about all I got to say. But I don't think it's a good thing. Myself,
Yeah.
it's a good thing that they have a sewer plant. But you know, Tom, it's like Dr. Gilbert said, there's no way possible to take everything out of the water that is put in.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about just the household chemicals that you use and it goes into a sewer system, just those. Can't take all of them out. You know, and infrared will take and kill some of the pharmaceuticals. Not all of them, but some.
Yeah.
And so I think
no, it's a situation, no question about it.
it's really worrying the hell out of me, the water supply. I think we're going to die by it if we don't change our ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? So I don't know what anybody else thinks about it, but that's what I think.
All right. Well, thanks for the info. Thanks for bringing that to our attention. And folks in Four Corners need to get together and start writing some letters, I guess, or
You betcha.
doing something. I'm not sure what the alternative is. If I think if they want to build it, they will build it. So.
Oh, it's going to be built.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
Well, at least the money you pay it in two payments, 6 months apart. So maybe
That's
that'll
right.
help a little bit.
Well, plus your other payments, plus the sewer,
That's true.
sewer and water.
Yeah, you got everything else going for you.
Plus
so.
you got the garbage, and you got your car payment, you got your insurance in your house. You start adding all these costs up,
I hear you, man.
and these people that some of them on fixed incomes and only got so much, they're going to lose them houses, Tom.
I know they're going to have to.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna have to do some budgeting, I guess.
Oh, boy.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
Well, it's like the girl at Walmart. I talked to her yesterday. Judy and I went in there, and I had to buy some of that Flex Seal for roofs, you know. But anyway, I asked this girl who was checking us out. I says, "Do they pay you $14 an hour?" Yeah, she says. I get a little over $14 an hour, but she says it isn't enough, and I work at the hospital too.
Yeah.
So they got two jobs. See?
Oh yeah. This is not a cheap place to live.
Boy, I'll tell you, I'm really worried about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks, Tom, and thanks, Jane.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one, buddy.
Okay, thanks. All right. More stuff from our text line. Let's see. Where did I leave off here? If white national ideas are accepted, where is the moral line that the show will not cross? If all ideas are welcome means Tommy Boy and shame will stand for nothing. They would provide support for polygamy, incest, rape, murder, sedition, racism, border suppression, petty crime, etc., etc., etc. Well, as liberals often do when they can't defeat the argument, they jump into the deep end of the pool and exaggerate what is actually happening here. If somebody wants to call in and say murder's okay, that's their opinion. Doesn't have anything to do with our moral line at all. It's as I say, it's up to the listener to decide. We talk about abortion all the time, and unfortunately, whether you believe in it or not, we have a stand on that, and we have made that stand quite evident.
And we've argued it with context and information.
Yeah. AG Barr is right now trying to defend Trump with his actions against anti-Semitic violence. Now, AG Barr, Trump and the conservatives are a complete joke. Well, they may be, but we'll let the listeners decide what they are or are not. So we'll be back right after this at the bottom of the hour. 25 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Monday, July 15, 2019, 65 degrees outside. Shane Montalban, half man, half amazing in Vancouver. Tom Eagle up, your morning mayor. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. From our text line, 478-8298, they really should research all the awards Trump got from black organizations for the things he did for the black community. And because of our medical system is a quasi-socialist business, and those who can pay are forced to pay for those who can't, no free market here. The late 1930s seemed like a bad time to bring children into the world. That may be true. Shane, Cape Town is the original settlement of the Dutch in South Africa, and it wasn't inhabited. It was a vast grazing land where some tribal and some pastured cattle. It was essentially uninhabited.
And then they found diamonds and gold.
And then they found diamonds and gold. That would be it. Shane pays more in taxes, but look at all the money he saves on insurance premiums.
Exactly.
Businesses don't have to pay in. Businesses don't have to pay insurance. Do businesses offer insurance up there? They don't have to, I guess. Huh?
Well, they do because supplemental insurance, for glasses and dental. And,
okay, so they'll pay the things that your regular single payer won't pay.
That's correct.
Okay, so they can offer those things as insurance perks to get good employees by offering them the supplemental insurance and
the minimal number of employees required to get supplemental insurance for a small company is 10 employees.
Right. Okay. From our text line, not falling for it. It is not all Clint has got to say about it. So I don't know what that means, but
I don't either.
Okay. It's called free speech. Thanks for giving all people an opportunity to speak. It's a good thing. And that's what we think, too. It is a good thing. And as I was saying earlier about abortion, if you want to talk about the benefits and the wonderful things about abortion, all views are welcome here. We will just give you the other side of that. Same with murder, same with incest, same with polygamy, same with anything else. Doesn't that we don't stand for anything. We're not here to convince you our way or the highway. This is a discourse of ideas between people. And, as we've seen, sometimes a single call we can do an hour of back and forth on that one topic.
That's right. And I had an epiphany over this weekend when they were talking about the Mississippi and whether it would breach it. It got to 17 feet and then this hurricane. And it occurred to me, 100 years ago, what was happening in North America. It wasn't flooding like you're seeing across the middle of the continent. It was a dust bowl. Remember the dust bowl?
Right, yeah.
It blew away all the topsoil and no one could grow anything. And they were worried about the country starving because they couldn't grow. And, people were talking about climate change or, the end of the world.
Right.
But the point of it is that, that went on for about 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
And through the development of farming, the American agricultural business developed, techniques for, growing and so forth to maintain the topsoil and prevent it from blowing away. But the point is these kind of major occurrences as far as weather, they've been going on for a long time, folks. This isn't anything new. This just didn't start happening in the last 20 years.
Yeah. So
there you go.
There you go. Also from our text line, Republicans lost their morality in 2016.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you are. Yeah. Let's see, from our app chat line, which is on your smartphone. App chat's right next to the listen button on your smartphone at AM 1450 KMMS. Back to my point of ignoring the issues, Rush Limbaugh pointed out that the Republicans failed to notice an issue in 2010 when President Obama removed citizen question from the census. So don't blame the courts or Democrats. Blame the head in the sand, Paul Ryan, and his comrades in Congress and the Senate. I'm not sure the Obama took the question off. There's some debate, about that.
Yeah, but this leads to a bigger problem. The biggest problem is, as we both know, California has seen over 2 million American citizens leave. Mm-hmm. Okay, now we know that there's at least 2 million illegal immigrants that have gone into California.
They're illegal aliens.
Illegal aliens. But the point is California wants to count them.
Oh yeah. Well, of course they do. They don't want to lose. They don't want to lose their representation in Congress. So
that equates to like 4 seats they could lose in Congress if they lose that population. So, folks, this is really important. This whole thing about determining how many legal Americans are in your country because of your representation in the House of Representatives. Mm-hmm. So it's really important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. That's what we're looking at. So
That's right.
Yeah.
So there you go.
All
This
right.
works the same way.
Yeah. All right. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back right after this. 14 minutes for the top of the hour. And, text line is burning up, Shane.
Great. That's fabulous.
Isn't it funny? Blacks get to be proud to be black. Mexicans get to be proud to be Mexicans. But as soon as a white person advocates for his rise, was proud to be white, he's evil. The government has been telling us for 49 years that there are 10 to 12 million illegals in the U.S., with hundreds of thousands coming every year and having children. I think the number is north of 40 million by now. This is why government doesn't want an accurate number getting out. Think of the cost, the total cost to the citizens of the country. Calls for a count of persons, not citizens. So we not only will shame Stan for nothing, he will misrepresent basic information. So not sure what that means.
I don't either.
But
it won't be my information. It'll be your government's information.
I'm not going to say it doesn't really matter what we think. They're going to count.
Exactly.
They're going to count whoever they're going to count.
Exactly.
And they are going to count me, but they're only going to count 2 people. As in 2010, I refused to fill out the long form, and they came to my house. I don't know how many times, 5 or 6 at least, threatened me with jail and everything else. And I said, I'm not doing it, guys. I'm sorry. One man, one woman lives here. That's all you need to know.
My question to you about that is, does the missus have to fill out a form? I mean, is it one person per household that has to fill the form out?
No, she filled hers out. I just didn't. I just chose not to fill mine out.
No, well, yeah, and that's the reason I asked the question, because it's the same here. Everybody in the house has to fill a form out.
Yeah, that's the story. So yeah, and in this
over 18.
Yeah, over 18. Well, you report how many kids are in your family.
No,
the number of children and things like that.
Once you turn into 18 in our country, you have to fill
18. You fill it out. You have a census question on your, or a citizen question on your census.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course you do. Yeah. So yeah, we'll be doing that.
Well, yeah, on our census, they want to know where you were born, when you were born, like what'd you weigh when you were born, what the color of your eyes were.
I don't know about that, but anyway. In the case of the census, it should be people who are here legally in the United States. So we will, that's what we're going to be talking about. So, that's the only important thing. So.
Yes, that's right.
All right. Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Caller, you on the air. What's your name? What's going on?
Hey, guys, it's Mayor. Say, I have some
Mary.
questions. Hello?
I'm Shane. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I have some questions for some of these texters that seem to think that the Republicans have lost their minds or whatever. But let me ask these questions. Who are the ones that are salivating over abortion and are now advocating infanticide? Question number 2, who are the violent protesters? Antifa and Black Lives Matter. Question number 3, who are the ones shutting down conservative voices in Google, Facebook, and Twitter? Question number 4, who are the ones allowing in drugs and human trafficking at the border? Number 5, who are the ones telling illegals how to continue to break the law? And number 6, who are the ones perpetuating the blacks versus white, the rich versus poor, and the success versus non-success? And the last question, who goes ballistic over a hat? Now, are any of those...
My favorite question, because I'm wearing one.
Yeah. Now, are any of those questions I asked have anything to do with the left wing of this country? All of it is. They're the lawbreakers. They're the ones that pick and choose the laws they want to obey and the ones we should obey. I mean, this has gotten so out of hand. I'm not only going to have to move from the valley because I'm not going to be able to afford to live here anymore, but I'm really considering moving to some obscure jungle somewhere where I don't.
No. Come to Canada, Mary. 30% on your money. I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah, right.
Kamloops. Mary, come to
Well,
Kamloops.
I could get a house cheaper, right, Shane?
Well, Mary, I'm telling you right now, it's the sister city, sister valley to the Gallatin and Bozeman is Kamloops. I'm telling you right now, if you came to Kamloops and you'd fall in love and go, this is Bozeman, this is the Gallatin Valley. I'm telling you, it's incredible, and you can buy an incredible home up there, 30% discount. So I'm telling you, it's incredible.
It might be an option, Shane, because I tell you what, they are taxing me out of my property here, unless
and the
we
winters
get together
are a lot milder. Believe me, the winters are milder than where you live.
Well, I'm all for that, but I don't know what we can do as a citizenry. Otherwise, I would be open. I don't know if Jennifer would be willing to write an initiative comparable to Prop 13 and get it on, wouldn't work for this November, but get it on next November's ballot.
Well, we'll have to ask her on Friday.
Yeah, because, instead of all of us calling in and complaining about it, why don't we all get together and do something about it? And I would be willing to, get the ball rolling on this one. I'm not a legal person, so, we'd have to have some help. But I don't know. I think we got to do something.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call.
You bet.
Always a pleasure, Mary.
All right, take care. It's Mare, not Mary.
Okay, Mare.
Mare.
Always a pleasure, Mare.
Mare, like,
Mare.
stallion and mare.
Okay.
All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back right after this. 4 minutes for the top of the hour. It is Monday, July 15, 2019, 69 degrees outside. Shane Taubin, the half man, half amazing, is on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia, and we've got some guests in the studio. As some of you know, we passed out we gave away some gift cards to City Brew Coffee last week. And we got a couple folks in here. We got Reggie, the district manager, and we've got Jake, the store manager at the City Brew on 7th, right by Universal and in the old IGA Center. So welcome, you guys. Thanks for being here with us.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
What do we need to know about City Brew? I guess, Reggie, you being the district manager around here, what do we need to know?
Well, it's our 1-year anniversary at Jake's location, so over there on 7th. So we're rolling out some promo stuff on our perks. We're giving away a free gift basket. You can just come into the store and sign up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What else?
Yeah, just tell them KMMS sent you.
Yep.
Exactly. We'll be doing some stuff on social media, so keep watching for that. Just some more giveaways and competitions and stuff. And then we also have our perks card. So when you register those, if you sign up today, you'll get a free drink tomorrow, and then with that comes with other exclusive offers and stuff that only the perks members get.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And there's let's see, you got a location over by Bed Bath & Beyond. You got the one at 7th Street. You got one in the Grand Tree. Sort of a quasi one, I think.
Yeah.
It's not they don't take the card.
They serve our coffee.
Yeah, they serve your coffee, but they're not a real City Brew.
Yes, and then we've got one more in the Kohl's parking lot.
That's
20th.
right. Okay, yeah, over by Kohl's.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, you got all sides of town covered.
Yes, we do.
So that's a pretty good deal. So yeah. So sounds good. So let's see. As I told you, I have my City Brew card in my pocket and get in there every once in a while. You guys put on a pretty good cup of coffee and some other extras. You've got the pastries and other goodies there that people can take advantage of. So that's kind of nice. So
yeah, we have some new pastries and stuff right now. We've got a spicy biscuit breakfast sandwich, which is pretty good. It's pretty spicy, but it's the perfect amount.
I love spicy.
It's pretty good. And then we also have a croissant, the multi-grain croissant right now, which is pretty good too.
There you go. Sounds pretty healthy. I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's actually good. I tried it the other day. It's really good actually.
Even for being healthy, it's good.
Yeah.
So okay. Well, sounds good. So that's a good deal. All right. Well, I really appreciate you guys being here. We got about a minute or so left. Any parting thoughts we need to know about before you guys take off?
We just rolled out a bunch of new promotional drinks. So definitely come in and try those. We've got a few different refreshers. We've got a new like blended energy infused charger that's pretty good, and a couple new frappes.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you're down at City Brew on 7th, say hi to Jake, the manager running that store, and Reggie, district manager. Thanks for coming in. Nice meeting you.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you guys giving us some cards to check out to our
Absolutely.
listeners, and that's been great. So
We
terrific.
appreciate you guys supporting us.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely.
Montana-based
Of course we do.
company.
Of course. Well, there you go. We love Montana.
Same.
All right. We'll be back with more coming up at 7 o'clock. So hang in there. 6 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock, it is Monday, July 15, 2019. 71 degrees outside. We're looking for a high in the mid-80s. Thunderstorms and showers and everything predicted today. There's rain, snow, and hail. I want to cover everything so I can be right. There's a chance. If I say there's a chance that, see, if it does rain, snow, or hail, then I'm fine.
Well, it is July.
Yeah,
so it's all possible.
I'm covered, so.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. From our text line, have no fear, boys. The job is yours, and nobody in unemployed radio community nationally wants to work for KMMS AM. If Horseface asks and answers her own questions, why reply? Mayor, leave the valley, curl up and die. At least shut the pie hole.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Have no fear, boys. The job is yours, as nobody in the unemployed radio community nationally wants to work for KMMS AM, so you'll most likely lose out to another homosexual pedophile following in the footsteps of Dominic. Gee, must be tough knowing you both are going to lose out to homosexual pedophiles 2 times in a row. Well,
Wow.
you're gone, and I'm still here.
Gee, I can't imagine who sent those emails.
Okay, let's see. President of the United States told 4 congresswomen to go back to their crappy, crime-infested place, and that would be right, except 3 of them were born in the United States. And so what do you want me to say? President's an idiot?
Aye.
He is. Let's see. Hey, Shane, how many people do you think will die if the left implements the Green New Deal as originally stated? I don't think anybody's going to die from the new Green Deal, but I don't know. Maybe that's...
There won't be a new Green New Deal, though.
I don't think there's anybody going to die from that. So let's see. Fake news, fake alt-right news, I should say. Obama did not take the census question off, and I'm pretty sure that is accurate, that I don't think it was Obama that did it. Let's see. Talk about climate crisis. How about Noah and the flood?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see, and I think that catches us up with, oops. Shut my pie hole, thanks. You just made my point. There you go. That's good. So, now I think that was a test of are all views welcome here.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So there you are. All right. Well, let's see, guys. Let's see from our text line also. Trump supporters talking about morality. That's ironic. Well, what can I tell you? Some of us have morals. So, right?
Yeah,
Would you say, Shane?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's say some of us do.
Mhm.
Yeah. Don't forget our poll question of the day. What's the best breakfast food? That is our poll question of the day, and we can give you some results over here. Let me refresh the page here so we get an accurate count of what we've got here. Eggs and bacon is coming on strong. That's the leader at 75%. We've got biscuits and heavy on the sausage gravy. I like that one. Pie is one, and eggs, potatoes, sausage, fruit, and orange juice is one.
Wow.
So those are some of the others. And French toast gets a vote at 5%. And bagels, cereal, and fruit combo, nobody wants that at all. So there we are. Let's see, from our text line, typical liberal outlook has to attack a conservative personally. So there you are. Are you off the phone again?
Someone's got the it's the
we're-
same guy sending the texts. You know,
Oh,
the same guy jamming the line, jamming the line.
All right, let's take a phone call. 522 Talk is the number. Caller, you are on the air. What's going on?
Morning, gentlemen. This is Jerry. How are you?
Hi, Jerry.
Good morning, Jerry. Welcome to the show, sir.
Well, what a show you're having today.
I know.
Boy, Shane, I'm glad, I guess you're glad you're up there in Canada.
Well, my foot only reaches so far to kick someone in the you-know-what.
Tom, first of all, I'd like to congratulate you on your interview with the City Brew manager. You only said, there you go, once.
Ah, good. I can't believe it. That's only twice this morning that I've gotten that in, so I appreciate it. I'm working really hard at that, really.
Can we settle this? Is there anything that you want to tell me that I keep saying over and over again?
Not at all, Shane. Yeah, your diction and your vocabulary is right on.
Well, I told Tom I'm good. I understand the English language, so I don't have to swear,
Well, from that, it sounds like Shane's going to end up with a show, and I'm going to be out with a "We'll Work for Food" sign.
Please. The righteous eagle man, mayor of the town. This is your show, buddy. Your show, nobody.
On the other side, the district manager said 10 times.
Oh.
Well, yeah. He is a salesman, right?
Okay. Well.
The reason I called was in your first segment, I was very concerned about that caller who was worried about the racial imbalance.
Yeah, wasn't that strange? Yeah.
That was an amazing spiel. I'm more worried about the moral imbalance. The country is definitely heading down the wrong path morally, and it starts with the folks who are the leaders of the country on both sides of the aisle, in academia, in parenthood. Everywhere you look, there's a moral imbalance, and that's, I think, is more of a major problem than a racial imbalance. It starts with there's a lot of black-hearted people out there, and that's what's affecting this country at the present. It's not the imbalance or the minorities this or the majority that. It's immorality, and that's what needs to be addressed. And that's all I have to say.
You've heard me say, when man is ruled by laws and not morals, everything becomes acceptable. And that's where you're at. You're in a democratic republic, and if you look historically over the last just 2,000 years, now you could go back further, but in the last 2,000 years, that has been the collapse of every republic that's ever existed. Is the collapse of the moral aptitude of the society.
Precisely.
And where the laws allow everything to become acceptable, and it's very sad because the basis of your civilization is the family.
Sure.
So if there's no morals in the family, and the kids grow up with no morals, or worse than that, they grow up with morals, and then they go to this education process that starts questioning their morals.
Absolutely.
Maybe as adults, especially 18 to 22 years of age, when you're the most influenced by people. Right, between 18 and 22, all of a sudden you look at your moral compass, and if you're not grounded with your family, which hopefully most people are still, it's a real hard conflict in your mind as a young adult. Where do I go morally with all of this?
And also, Shane, the fact that the laws aren't being adhered to, and if you break the laws, you really don't receive a punishment, equal to the crime you've committed. And that's another
correct.
problem.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just give you the example of how upsetting it is for me as a Canadian. We had a case of 2 years ago of an older man getting killed by a person in a car accident, and never got charged. They said he had mental problems, never was indicted, put in a hospital, medicated, and then they just let him out. And now he's free back, in our society.
Well,
and that's an example of what I'm saying. Everything becomes acceptable, including murder.
Yes, absolutely. It doesn't matter the crime that you committed. You're not going to receive a punishment equitable to the crime you've committed. It really boggles the mind. The prison system isn't for rehabilitation, Shane. It's for punishment. And the problem is these people that are in prison have it better on the inside than they did on the outside.
And then the left in abortion, they refuse to talk about science because in science, a single cell is an amoeba. But the minute it splits, it's a living thing. It's no longer an amoeba. Now it becomes a sentient life form.
Right.
So, but they refuse to accept the same thing with a baby in the womb. So we all know how quickly this process starts. Every cell splits, and the multiple becomes billions to become a human being. So I mean, yeah, even science is under attack by these immoral people because they only use science when it's to their benefit, and they don't want to use science when it's not.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, gentlemen, for taking my call.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call. All right. We've got another caller waiting on the line patiently. Caller, thanks for waiting. You're on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Hey, I just want to say I agree with everything both of you guys are just talking about there, the caller and Shane. But Tom, I would so much rather hear you say like and there you go 100 times a day than hear Shane multiple times a week call us a frickin' Democratic Republic. We are not. We have not ever been, and we will not ever be, a Democratic Republic.
No, I said other Democratic Republics, not yours.
If we would continue to call ourselves what we are, which is a representative republic with a constitution, that's one thing.
Agreed.
If you want to go to a Democratic Republic and visit one, I suggest the Congo. It's in their name. But other than that, Tom, keep on repeating yourself. I love it. Thanks, man.
Okay.
just to clarify.
Yeah.
If you look at Russia's constitution, it was a democratic republic. If you look at China's constitution, it's a democratic republic. So I'm not. Of course, you have a representative republic.
That's right.
But under socialism and communism, they've always struck constitutions that were democratic republics, basically. So that's what I was referring to.
Okay. All right.
Context.
Well, okay. This is really weird, Shane. I've never had this happen before. We have to take a break. We'll be back in 15 seconds, right after this. 19 minutes after the hour, it is Monday, July 15, 2019, 72 degrees outside. And oh my gosh, Shane, we're back on the line and we got a caller waiting. Let's take a phone call. And caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Well, there you go. It's me.
It had to be you.
It's like Pete.
Yeah, Pete Light. Yeah.
The white guy that nobody likes.
That's it.
It really, we are a republic, and in fact, it was guaranteed, the Republican form of government. However, it really doesn't matter what you call your form of government. If it's corrupt, it's corrupt.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't care what you call it, That's, we need to stop. We need to separate ourselves. And I've said this before. America is not the government. America is the people. Period. And I don't know. If you want to throw it all away, you're doing a good job right now. You just open the borders up, let everybody go wherever they want. You think that's going to change? You think nature is going to change because somebody said this is the way we do it, or that's the way we do it, or yeah, it's okay to dilute your culture, your society, your way of life, leave everything, leave your ancestors, leave your progeny there to defend themselves, fight for their lives in their own country. Well, I guess that's okay. The hell with it. Give me a break. And as far as the Democrats that can only text, let me ask you this. Who is the party of slavery? Who is the party of segregation? Jim Crow.
Democrats.
Who is anti-women's right to vote? The Democrats. And believe me, your stripes haven't changed. You're still the same. Nothing's going away. You scream racist all day. Let me tell you something. I spent my whole life trying to make a living and pay for all the crap that the whiners and the do-nothings get. I didn't have time to be racist. You know, you're starting to. They're starting to get ridiculous. To the point.
Well, they are. You know, when you go to someone's funeral and you stand at that person's funeral and you speak to that person's death, it's relative and it's important. So Senator Byrd of Virginia, the last known wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, who is known to be a member of the Ku Klux Klan by everybody because he told everyone, dies, and who eulogizes him? Obama, Biden,
and Clinton.
Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton. All four of them get up and they at this guy's funeral and tell everybody what a great the last wizard of the KKK was. Like, seriously. And it's on video.
Right. Well, like you say, you know, the other thing is you can, as far as the cultures go, look what's going on in Europe right now. Do you ever wonder why so many Europeans speak foreign languages? Yeah, because they've been invaded all over the place. You know, they better start teaching them to speak Arabic or whatever it is. I don't know. And if you prefer Sharia law, open the damn borders. Open them up if that's what you want, because that's what you're going to get. You're already getting a taste of it.
Hey, we just got a broad say it here in Canada. One of Trudeau's members, that's Muslim, you know, announced to the Canadian public that the Prime Minister told him that if he gets reelected next year, that he's gonna allow Sharia law in Canada. Can you imagine what that would happen? Now you'd have outrage, even in Canada.
You got it all over the place already. You can look at England's gone. Look what's going on in England.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I know.
I mean, they're locking up Tommy Robinson because he spoke out against a pedophile who were grooming the kids for pedophilia, and then he's going to jail. Yeah. England's gone, and I think Europe's gone. You know, they're going to have to trade their purses in for a rifle or something. Because it's going to be gone. Everything that they've got and so supposedly built over all these years, you know, is going to be gone. And look at Milosevic. They crucified him. What was he doing? Clinton went in there and he took the side of the drug smuggling Muslims over the population that saved Europe from the Muslim hordes. What, 200 years earlier?
Oh, for the last 400 years. Yeah, for the last 400 years. Yeah.
You know, and so we go in there and we pick we stand up for the drug smugglers, and we stood up for them because they were drug smugglers.
Well, we have a history of. I mean, we sided with the Shah. You know, I mean, come on. We have a history of picking the bad side of any argument out there.
You're talking about the government.
Oh, that's
You're not
true.
talking about we the people. This population in this country for over a century has been against war.
Yeah.
We didn't want to get in World War I. We didn't want to get in II. We certainly didn't want to be in Vietnam or Korea. But there you go.
Look here. I hate bringing this up, but I'll bring it up. Afghanistan. 80% of the world's heroin comes from Afghanistan because of the cash crop. It's indigenous to that country, and when it was taken over, by the Muslims, and they burned them all to the ground, and they reduced the output of
Taliban,
heroin, and the Taliban took it over. They wiped out the opium crop.
Yeah.
And it was down to 20%. And then we step in, Canada too.
The government steps in.
And guess where Afghanistan is? 70% of the world's heroin is now coming from Afghanistan.
There you are.
Well, they're just the growers. They're not the distributors.
I didn't say the other one. I said there you are.
Yeah, I know that was good.
But, yeah, we need to understand who's who and what's getting done. I mean, you can look at the CIA in this country, and I'll tell you what, the CIA is an entity unto itself. They don't obey nothing. They do what they want. We can't even ask them how much they have in their budget.
Yeah.
We don't know where the money in their budget comes from, because it all doesn't come from taxpayers. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Or where it goes.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, the Gang of Eight does, in closed meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's another thing. Closed meetings. To me, if the House wants to try somebody, it needs to be in public.
Yeah.
With the cameras running and splattered all over TV. Yeah, I want to know what's going on. We deserve the right to know what's going on. Okay? And we need to, like I said, the first thing I would do is judges are not appointed. They're all elected. And they definitely do not serve for life, period. The justice system has now become the legislature, and the legislature is now the so-called justice system. We have investigations. We do the investigating. We'll tell you who's guilty and who's innocent, and the judges tell us what the law is. And even though they say the president's got more power, it depends on who that president is. Because as we've seen today,
yeah.
I'm so glad you brought up Crazygate, because, we were talking about so many other things. I was hoping somebody'd say something about it.
Well, it's and like I said, either we turn it around or we pass it down like the whining do-nothers that we are to our children and grandchildren. That's immoral as far as I'm concerned. It's time to stand up. I'm sick of people saying, kill Whitey. And if you want to pull somebody's MAGA hat off their head, you better hope the hell it ain't me.
Yeah, there you go.
Because you're going to pay a price for that. As far as I'm concerned, it's my hat, and when you try to take my hat, you're assaulting me, and I will assault you back.
Well, I can't endorse that.
We've turned the other cheek for long enough.
Well, thanks for the cheery greeting here on this Monday morning.
I wasn't aiming it at you, Tom. I was aiming it at your whacked out texters.
I hear you, man. All right.
Have a lovely day.
You too.
Go out and catch some rays or something.
Absolutely. Going to do that shortly. I see sun out there blazing down right now. So.
Oh, there you go.
All right. Thanks, man.
You bet.
Talk to you later. All right. We got another caller waiting, Shane. If you could take care of that, we will be right back with more stuff right after the news at the bottom of the hour. We still, Shane's going to give us an update on the markets, and we'll be right back with more right after this. 23 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Monday, July 15, 2019, 71 degrees outside. We're looking for a high in the mid-80s today. We have a caller on the line with Shane, and let's go to the phones. And caller, you on the air. What's going on?
There we go.
Okay.
Shane and I had a lively debate.
All right.
Okay. I believe that just like Rome, when the upper class, when the patricians refused to give up their privilege and the plebeians refused to serve in the military and the slave class replaces the plebeians, that's when a society crashes, ugly crash. And Shane said we could become the tallest midget in the room, basically. We've got fresh water and energy and a willing slave class coming in across the border. So
what we were talking about, Tom, is I'm saying that, it's time for the 21st century model of capitalism. Facebook, Amazon, Google, Twitter, all these companies have figured out to monetize their product. They're the ones that should lead the economy right now and stop talking about this $15 an hour thing. They should do what Ford did, right? What did he do to get the best people in his company 100 years ago? He raised their wages, not just to get the best workers, but so they could buy his cars.
No,
So
no, that's wrong.
yeah,
That's wrong.
Yes, he did.
That's wrong. They did, no,
Yeah.
it wasn't to buy his cars.
No, but I'm saying because he raised their wages, they were able to buy his cars.
Not really, but okay.
The point is that in the last 100 years, your capitalist system in the United States became a self-developing machine of consumption, its own consumption of what it created. And it took off in the 50s and 60s. And now we're in the 21st century. And I know people, I hope this causes all kinds of phone calls, but these companies, Amazon, Google, they should be saying, we're going to pay $25 an hour to our employees. And that will sustain people so that now families can expand. They can have more children, and one person can work, and the mother can be at home. I mean, they could make a social difference that could change everything across the board around the world. So the
gauge of your society is, are women reproducing?
Demographic population.
Yeah, the birth rate. Yeah, absolutely.
Rate,
yeah.
If
Till that changes, nothing much is going to happen.
Tom, do you know what the best form of birth control is?
My face?
No, a job for a woman. A woman's job.
You mean a woman working?
Yes.
Oh, I don't think that's true.
Well, millennials are certainly bearing that out. Millennials are bearing that out. Well, they're not bearing it out, I guess. They're putting their career ahead of having children, and that's the way the country's headed.
Yeah, that as I said, a job for a woman is the best form of birth control.
Well, I think that's pretty extreme, but okay.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call. All right. We got another caller waiting. Caller, thanks for your time. We're on the air. What's your name? What's going on?
It's me, guys.
Hey.
Well, I mean, that's what the other caller said, so it's me again.
Well, it's you then.
It's me.
Hello, you.
So, Tom, I don't want to ruin your day, but I think I'm going to call you on the carpet. Early.
The mayor's on the carpet.
Are you sitting down?
Yeah.
So, earlier you had a text earlier in the show. You had a text something to the effect of Trump and conservatives are a joke. Now,
yes.
You could have had several responses to that. You could have said, well, that's your opinion. You could have said, well, if that's how you feel, I'd like to have you give me an example of why you feel that way. You could have said, well, I could think of several examples why the Democrats are a joke. You remember what you said? You said, they very well may be. Trump and conservatives very well may be a joke. Okay, it's great that you allow all views, but do you have to agree with all of them?
No, I don't. Of course not. I don't agree with all of them.
But to say they very well may be, well, how come, many times when conservatives call in, they'll make a statement and then they'll give an example of why they feel that way. So often it seems like the liberals / Democrats get a free pass. They'll make an open-ended statement. The conservatives are a joke. Trump's a moron. Conservatives are racist. Trump's a liar. They never give examples of why they feel that way.
But in defense of Tom, the Righteous Eagle Man, as host of the show, does this thing because you know what it precipitated? Your phone call, which is huge. Like, that's great.
So there you
are. So, okay, I know you guys are not, but what if someone just said, Tom and Shane, they're skinheads? Well, yeah, you'd want to say, whoa, wait a minute. Why do you feel that way?
My hair hasn't thinned that much.
Yeah.
You might say, well, give an example of why you feel that way. What have they done? What have they said? But if someone said, well, Tom and Tom and Shane are skinheads, and I said, well, they very well may be. I mean, that's the same kind of thing that you did, you know.
Yeah.
I could think of examples where the Democrats are a joke, saying that the Green New Deal, you know, it would bankrupt the country, trying to retool all the things to get rid of petroleum. They're a joke when it comes to supporting and maintaining this country's sovereignty by having open borders. You know, I could say the Democrats are a joke when they say, oh, we care so much about the illegals. You guys are mistreating them. We've got to give them free food. We've got to give them free medicine. But they don't say a word about our veterans who are suffering, who have been many times injured, and they're suicidal, and many of them are homeless. They don't say a word about families and children that are homeless in this country, but they care so much about illegals. Oh, let me say law-breaking aliens, because it's illegal and legal are so close. You might miss what someone's saying. So I want to say law-breaking aliens. You know, they care so much about these law-breaking aliens are going to give them anything they need to survive well in this country, but not talk about people in this country who have fought and bled and given their lives and given their limbs, and you don't hear a peep about that, but they care so much about these law-breaking aliens. You know, so, you know, like I said, it's great that you want to allow all opinions, but when someone calls in and makes just an open-ended statement, you know, and then there was another one that said something about Trump supporters talking about morality. Well, I've heard that the president prays every morning with Vice President Pence, at least when they're both in Washington, you know, and he has defended the life of unborn children. You know, there's so many. Israel. And he's defended Israel, yes. So many things.
Okay, I stand chastised, and I got to take a break. Okay.
You know, so
thanks for your call. I appreciate it.
To sum it all up, I just want to say, you know, I've just given many examples where the Democrats are immoral. The Democrats are a joke.
And a good surmise you did. I appreciate it.
Thanks for calling, darling.
Thanks for calling.
All right, guys.
I appreciate it. All right, I got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. 10 minutes for the top of the hour. Shane's got a quick market update for us. Go for it, man.
Okay, it's really important, folks. 27,318 on the Dow. It's down 13 today, and the S&P is up to 3,000. The NASDAQ at 7,900. Europe's up all over the place. Asia's down. The commodity prices are just flowing nicely now. It's starting to show some strength. And the bond, you know, the 15-year bond is over 2 at 2.09, and the 30-year is at 2.65. And the reason this is true and important is currencies are holding strong, but China, Tom, is getting to where you and I are concerned. Their GDP is not holding. It's starting to drop. And when 400 million Chinese go into the street because they have a market crash, which will happen under fascism, just like under capitalism, everything will change. There you go.
All right. We've got to take another quick break. We've got to get the Rush update in and several other local sponsors that keep us on the air. So listen closely. There may be a test afterwards. Well, we got 3 minutes left here, Shane. I'm going to catch up on some of our text line. Show any applicant the luxurious studio digs, and they'll be wet as salt. There you go. I didn't say there you go. It was in the text. There you go. So Trump is viewed as a traitor to his class like Caesar was viewed. Semper Tyrannis. Xi is president for life in China. His life. So... hey, Chris, do the world a favor. Pull your lower lip over your head and swallow. Oh, I forgot to sign that one, and it was signed. So to the lady who called to chastise me, who is this woman? She needs to run for office. I support your show and the facts and different points of view. Have enjoyed listening to you, Tom, since George Carter. Your speech patterns are great, so quit stressing over it. A few are trying to manipulate you. The last two hosts were lousy and did a lot of damage to the station. Announced that you are starting a new rule. If they don't sign their text, it won't be read on the air, and read the name. Okay, that's also a signed text. So Let's see. A quote from Joe Biden: "I respect no border." Who does the pedophile Epstein support? Democrats. So, to the pie holder, insults are the last resorts of an insecure man with a crumbling argument. So, Chris is a putz. So, and let's see. We were talking about Afghanistan. The U.S. is now guarding the poppies. The U.S. Army is guarding the poppies. We, the people, have turned the other cheek till they have slapped us silly. Let's see. And when they were talking earlier, Shane, how many people do you think will die if the new Green Deal is started? That's what I was saying. I'm with Pete. There you are. So we got everybody involved in there.
I guess you can hear.
Yeah, right. Somebody sent me something, proof Obama removed the census question, but the links they sent go to a page not found. So if you could send that again, that would be helpful to me. Let's see. Typical liberal outlook has to attack a conservative personally. We read that one. And Trump supporters talk about morality. That's ironic. And that pretty well wraps it up, I think. So that's where we are. So
Okay,
we're done.
so
say goodbye. Well,
okay,
whatever. Well, say what you're going to say.
All right, quick tease. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the solution of this ICE issue with illegals being asked to be taken out of the country. The caller's going to come back and bring it up. We got a solution. So
okay.
Be happy, be safe, everyone. Mayor, always a pleasure. We'll talk in the morning.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. All right, that wraps it up for us today. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to all the texters and the callers. Been quite a show today. You can hear the rebroadcast coming up in about an hour and a half or so. So if you missed any part of it and want to hear the rest, you can certainly do that. So, all right, Shane and I are out of here, and we'll see everybody bright and early tomorrow morning at the usual time. That would be 6 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time. So don't miss it. We'll see you all then.